or if the game's too loud or anything like that. So, if you haven't seen our live streams before, I'm Ryan Baker. I'm the artist and quasi-designer. I guess we all do design, but for the game, I do most of the character designs and concept art. So, actually, I'll be joined in just a second by Kobe, who is our programmer, and we'll play the game a bit and answer a bunch of your questions. I'm hoping we have a lot of our new, new in the sense that they just gained access, beta backers from Kickstarter today. So maybe a lot of new people, so feel free to ask any questions. We'll probably run the stream for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And yeah. So actually, I guess I can probably just start playing a little bit here. As you may know, we have 3 classes available right now. There will eventually be even more, 8 total. And so this is the Rogue, the Sorcerer, and the Gladiator, and you can just choose which one you want from this, our kind of temporary, not totally complete starting area, which we call the jail. And just select one, hit A if you're using an Xbox controller, and you can start going. Let's see. Sega Star, you were asking what is Delver's Drop? Could you clarify? I mean, are you asking just about the type of game in general or something else? I guess not quite following. So a couple of new things we added. We slightly improved character speed and handling. So you'll notice that it's a little bit snappier, more physicsy. Had a few bugs, so you may, depending on which build you grabbed, or, well, I guess everyone got the same build, but there's actually a patch out that improves things a little bit. We had some bugs that got in the last minute due to adding some new features, so your character may move slightly differently or slightly faster, which was partly unintentional, partly just bugs. But there are some patch notes on the Kickstarter update that just went out. Okay, so the genre, it's an action RPG. Definitely in the style of Zelda, kind of reminiscent of a lot of the Super Nintendo action RPGs is basically what we were going for. With puzzle elements, dungeon exploration. We're eventually going to have bosses and all of that. For anyone else who's new, there's a basically dungeon randomization, the multiple character classes, of course, and a physics system that drives all of the interactions. So you can see I can push these around, break the jars, etc. And here's Kobe wrapping up answering some questions for
customer
Kickstarter.
Service.
Yeah. By the way, sorry to any beta backers who tried to get the build and couldn't today. We sent out an update saying, hey, you can get it, and then apparently it was there, it was uploaded, everything was fine as far as we knew, but then basically the access trigger wasn't pulled in the right way, I guess is the way to put it. So what I was about to say, though, is that the big new feature in this build is the ability to use your shield. We had a shield in the game visually before, but it didn't actually defend you. There's still a lot to do. We actually want to make it only effective if you still have shield pieces in the UI. So you see right now I just have heart pieces. So eventually, when we kind of finish the system, you won't actually be able to pull your shield out like this if you've lost all of your shield pieces. And each character class will have a different amount and so on for kind of balancing. So, you want to play a bit so I can answer questions?
Can I adjust the screen ever so slightly for me? Or would that mess up the cam?
This still looks fine.
Okay.
At least I think. Yeah. Okay, so Someone was asking when will people who pre-ordered from the homepage get access to the beta? And yeah, so next build, which will probably be in about 2 weeks. Basically, the way we rolled this out is we gave access to our $25 and above Kickstarter backers. Probably like, I don't remember when that originally was, like June, a couple months ago, or
we gave them the pre-alpha.
And then we promised access to our $15 and up backers, and the bill just went out. It's a little late, but basically they get kind of first access because they backed so much earlier. And but yeah, anyone who pre-orders, since you're kind of the third wave, you'll get access by the end of this month. The game isn't actually on Steam right now. We have been greenlit. We were greenlit about probably 6 weeks ago at the end of August. And we aren't on early access or anything like that yet on Steam. But you can pre-order the game through our website, delversdrop.com/pre-order. I'll just type it in here. And like I was saying, that'll grant you access to this very early version of the game later this month. And I was actually about to show them how the new shield dashing and shield dodging works. It didn't quite get to
Oh, I've been using those, so they've probably seen
but
it.
it didn't explain it.
Actually, this build, by the way, we've got some new art since we sent out the previous build. So this build actually has a unique animation for the shield dash now. And we fixed a couple of other, oh god, didn't mean to do that. Fixed a couple of things with the animations, like on the shield retract, that's actually a new animation now. As well as when you stock, the shield has a different animation state, because before, we came up with the logical ideas for those actions, but didn't actually have legitimate animation states for them, and just reused animation states that we had, that our animator was able to get some new ones in. They're only for the rogue though, so you'll see if I dash with the gladiator or the sorcerer, it's actually going to look really messed up because they don't have those animations yet. You're going to see like a gajillion shield pieces all over each other.
It's actually not all that noticeable unless you're looking for it. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
A little bit odd, but it happens so fast. So yeah, this is well, basically a lot of kind of developments are happening pretty fast here. So until yesterday or the day before, I guess, we didn't actually have these shield abilities in. So there's still a lot of testing going on. And we want to add particle effects and things like that. So they're kind of like motion blur lines when you dash. And we're also going to change it so whenever you dash into an enemy, you will cause them some damage or knock them back. So it'll be really cool if we're able to do kind of different abilities per class. So maybe the gladiator knocks enemies back much farther and causes quite a bit more damage, while the rogue, maybe knocks them back a little bit, only does like 1 point of damage. Maybe the assassin, which isn't in the game yet, but the assassin might actually just like phase straight through enemies. So if you do a shield dash, it's like you do a sort of shadow dash to zip through stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff we're kind of cooking up, and planning on getting a build out every probably couple of weeks to make the new progress. Someone was asking what caused us to regain the health and shield. I guess that was probably several seconds ago, but there are shield pieces which look like little metallic triangles that you pick up to replenish your shield meter, and then small red and pink potions that replenish your hearts.
Yeah, I'll bust open one of these. So
yeah,
actually,
those are
no
all
shield.
coins, I think.
That's a shield piece right there.
Yeah, it's a little too bright. We still have some adjustments to do. Like the lighting system is sort of experimental. There are a lot of like bloom effects that are a little bit too strong. We need to tone those down. Let's see. Someone was asking about multiplayer.
Oh God.
Or I think you were saying "oh God" about the room and not about the multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, multiplayer's "oh God" too, but.
So yeah, we are going to have some limited multiplayer modes. They probably won't be available until after the game is released. Basically, we met some Kickstarter stretch goals when we had our Kickstarter back in February, March of this year, And so we're going to have local 2-player companion mode, which is basically a second player can kind of drop in and float around as a familiar or other like mystical creature that'll help you out. And then there are 2 4-player modes, again local only, but one is a competitive deathmatch, so basically Super Smash Brothers meets Zelda, kind of in our game, and then a cooperative horde mode where you'll fight waves of enemies and then kind of drop down to the next level. So. Do more bloom and more brown. Okay.
That's AAA, right? Brown plus bloom.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, everybody's getting like super cinematic with their color filters, which I wish we could do, but is probably beyond what the engine will be able to pull off this time around, at least. So we could definitely do more brown, though. I could just straight up tint the textures brown. We'd probably sell twice as many copies, or not. But yeah, that room is a little too intense. I think we're just gonna have to make a rule that we don't put 4 light sources that close to each other. And just so everyone knows, I mean, if you're enjoying this stream or want to see more about the game, we're actually going to be doing streams at least once a week. I do, well, basically starting this week, I'm doing a weekly Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time art live stream. So I'll be doing some drawing. We usually talk about the sort of lore and enemies and element system and things like that a lot as well. So some in-game art, some concept art. I probably leak a bunch of stuff that is supposed to be secret right now that I forget because I'm just doodling and talking. So right now we just have the one zone and what is it, like 6 enemies, 5 enemies, 6?
I don't know how many there are.
We have a much larger list that we're working on, and I was actually showing a bunch of the enemies yesterday. Yeah, I mean, things are still kind of early in development. We actually just sent out a Kickstarter update for anyone who hasn't seen that yet. It's actually pretty important if you want to go check that out. We list some kind of updates to the schedule. If anyone has questions about that, feel free to ask. Yeah, basically updates to the schedule and kind of what we're planning on doing to just improve the game, make it even more awesome going forward. So. How many people work on the game? We fluctuate quite a bit. I think probably at our most we've had like 10 people all working on the game at the same time. And we're probably going to add a couple more contractors here at some point to help with the art because, well, basically like zones and everything are behind. Let's see, he's only got a mid-grade one, but I'll go ahead and try out the sorcerer. I was hoping I would get the triplet. And we are going to have a randomized weapon system where, like, every time you get a weapon, it'll be built out of components. And that isn't in yet, but we do have a few examples of weapons that would kind of be created by the system, but right now they're just pretty vague. So every time you pick a character, they'll just have a random weapon out of 4 possible options that kind of shows off some of the features of that weapon set. You want to keep playing so I can keep answering?
Yeah, but you picked my least favorite character.
Yeah, so character progression or sort of like leveling and stats and abilities is something that we don't have in the game yet. I mean, it's definitely planned. Right now we just kind of have different movement properties and attack properties for the character classes, but we're going to have a leveling system, so anytime you kill an enemy or find an item, you'll be able to get some experience points. And when you level up, well, we may have to slightly simplify our plan for how the perk system will work, but basically you'll have a sort of perk tree or just perk progression where, at every level there will be sort of options for enhanced effects for that character. So if you want your rogue to have more sort of traction, that might be an option. It'll also upgrade your special abilities, which again aren't in the game yet, but...
Alright, so I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try and shield dodge while the plumes push me over the... Fail. They push me too quick. I bet you can do that, though.
So, and then, yeah, all the characters will be able to get a bunch of different items. You'll actually have a little sub-item inventory of 5 items that you can carry around. So, that won't really interact with the perk system as much, but that is one kind of area of progression that the game will have. So exactly what day the beta will release. If you mean like if you pre-order on our website, I mean we will release it by the end of this month. I don't know exactly what day. Basically the way things go, since we just have one programmer, he'll start working on features, try to finish several things, and then we kind of give like a week time frame at this point, and then whenever those things are finished and polished, we'll ship it out that week. So basically, like by the end of the month, I think is probably the best I can say right now in terms of when pre-orders get access, but or just like last week of the month. We'll try to get it out sooner if we can, or I mean, basically we don't like to rush something out that is super buggy or just bad. So. Will the game lead into giant boss type characters if you progress far enough? And yeah, we are going to have bosses as well. I've been working on some of the art concepts for those, but we again don't have any to show yet. So like I was saying earlier, the Kickstarter update was mostly kind of about how things are a bit behind schedule. We have a lot of stuff that is like kind of in process, like being worked on. But getting everything up and running earlier this year just took way longer than we expected. So because those kind of first things put us behind, like everything's just a bit behind schedule now. So I guess the dash actually makes it way easier to get over the spike traps now, huh?
Yeah.
So we might speed those up a little bit.
Oh, look, this spider jumped backwards on me.
Well, it also jumped on you like the moment you stepped in the room, which is a little unfair.
Give me half seconds, warning.
Use your shield.
The problem is right now you can't push them back far enough to get attack advantage. That's your main dexterity.
Most of the time I can block enemies and then take a swing at them right away, and it seems to work okay.
I can do it if I jump back first.
The game just froze?
Something froze. Weird. Lost focus.
Do we have any idea when the other classes will start getting integrated? And they'll probably be, I would say, about at a rate of 1 per month. Hopefully, so like we'll add one November, December, January, February, like that sort of thing. And speaking of which, like that's our current kind of release target has moved from the last we were saying was somewhere around the end of the year. We've actually pushed that back to kind of spring zone, the March, April-ish time frame. But yeah, we want to have kind of a steady stream of new character classes. I guess how long has the Gladiator been in? I guess it's been a little bit now since PAX. At like
It was right before that.
mid-August.
No, that's right. It was.
Right. I don't think we released it then, but
Yeah.
we had them in.
I don't know, something like that.
So I mean, it's actually not super time consuming for us to make a new character class in terms of just like drawing it. It takes probably me a couple days to do the line work, line drawing for all the 8 directions, and then probably like 3 more days for one of our contractors to paint it. But then it basically takes a week to animate after that. So it's pretty much a 2-week process to get one of them ready to go into the game. Just overall, it's several different people working on it, but I guess the other tricky thing though is each character class obviously has a different weapon type, so we also have to make the art and animation state for those weapons and get all of that working properly, which is only going to become more complex as we get into guns and whips and other such crazy things. The next character class I think was slated to be the Beastkeeper, if I'm not mistaken. And the Beastkeeper uses whips and will eventually have the ability to like debuff or manipulate monsters. Oh, the Musketeer will be coming probably last. Well, I guess Musketeer and Harlequin. Are we going to advertise in any other way besides Twitch?
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be nice. It just advertising costs money. If you guys have any ideas for ways we can do, like, I guess kind of stealth marketing, like, which wouldn't cost as much money as like a TV ad campaign, we're definitely open to it. I mean, we'll be sending out press builds and things like that to get people to review it and live stream it and things like that eventually. But we want to get to like a real kind of solid beta state.
We've given lots of codes to Twitch streamers as well as YouTube Let's Players, so there's a lot of people out there that have access to the game that will probably start playing it once it gets further along. Some of them already have played a little bit. Rockley Smile just played some last week, but I don't think we've had any big Twitch streamers play yet. Probably for the better. Use some shield.
Vacant Song was asking about how the beat behave, and I was just saying that well, the whip would be kind of a mid-range weapon, so a bit longer than a sword, but shorter than a spear, and it would probably kind of whip out in a bit of an arc, so you could attack in sort of a cone vicinity in front of you. And we might also give a lot of whips some kind of debuff property, so it might slow the enemy temporarily or stun them longer once we get the full randomization system in. Excuse me. As for like kind of speed and physics on the Beastkeeper, we haven't fully tested any of the sort of speed and physics on any of the other character classes yet. I mean, it's something we could do. Like, I could actually just take our current Beastkeeper kind of theoretical stats and slap them on the Rogue just by copying and pasting in Excel and re-exporting. So that's something that we may test out at some point before we get the characters implemented, just to see if we've got a nice kind of balanced feel for all of them. But yeah, I mean, usually we kind of, like, the stats that we play around with the most are like acceleration, so how fast they can get up to speed, what their top speed is, and then there's grip and drag, which is how well can you corner, or how well do you maintain momentum when you change directions. So can you run a tight circle, or do you kind of slip in a bigger arc as you're trying to corner? That's grip, and then did I get those reversed?
I took damage where I shouldn't take any damage.
And then drag is essentially like how fast can you come to a stop, or how much actual friction do you have with the ground. So I mean, those kind of go together conceptually. But then we also edit the mass, so how heavy a character is, and elasticity, which is how bouncy they are if they bump into something. I think those are the kind of most primary physics properties on characters I may be missing one. But Sega Star was asking, will there be a storyline? And yeah, we're going to implement what we're calling ambient narrative, which is our sort of idea for like not sort of telling a story to you blatantly, where it's like, talk to townsperson, they say a bunch of stuff, and then you have to go talk to someone else and, you know, like bring them the magic potion and get more of the story. We want it to be more atmospheric, where like you may find an NPC and they'll tell you kind of a random tidbit, but the NPCs will appear randomly, so the more you play the game and the more you play it with different characters and find these different NPCs, you'll actually kind of like unearth even more of the story as you go. So what class will be the fastest? That's definitely going to be the assassin. So we wanted the assassin to be kind of like a super speedy glass cannon. So he or she will probably have only hearts and no shields. So you might not even be able to use the like, you know, hold up the shield like this the way you can for other classes. There will still be some kind of strafe or defend options, or like the little back step. We'll probably give the assassin, well, like I was saying, possibly like a phase ability when you dash, or an even longer dash or something like that, to kind of give them more agility options as opposed to actual like literal defensive options with the shield. But yeah, they're going to be kind of like fewer, well, not hearts, but just like a little bit less health overall. You know, you can run really fast, but you've got to be careful, or you'll just like run into spikes or whatever. So they're, I would say the plan is to make them a slightly more advanced class. Will there be an auto map? Yeah, we're going to have some kind of map in the game. As far as stealth, we've talked about giving either the rogue or the assassin a special ability to kind of like go invisible or undetectable for a short amount of time. Not totally sure about that yet. We really need to do some prototyping on the character abilities before we, you know, completely kind of commit to implementing some of them. Because a lot of it is like, well, it's nice to come up with ideas, but then like when you get down to programming it, sometimes they don't actually work.
Sorry, I'm going back and forth a lot. It's because we get lots of people who have problems accessing the build or the forums or whatever. And since we just sent out the build to a couple thousand people, it's a lot of customer service. So,
yeah, we're a couple thousand viewers. We've got 28 right now.
There's like 50 people in the forums right now.
Actually, I forgot to tweet this. What games have we taken artistic influence from? I guess like the kind of original idea was to try to give it like a 16-bit aesthetic without actually doing pixel art. So it's, you know, basically if you took like Super Nintendo graphics and could sort of res them up to be ultra high res and hand painted, what would that look like? And I think that's kind of where the style evolved from. As far as other influences, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I looked at. Like, I think we were doing an interview, and I was digging up some old character sketches and reference materials, and I think giving the characters a shadowy face may have kind of originated from some Frazetta artwork. But really, I wanted to not completely reveal the character faces, so that it kind of lets your imagination play out as to what they actually look like. You know, so hopefully you can kind of like connect with them a little better, because you can, you know, it's basically like, can you put yourself kind of in the shoes of the character, and the more it looks like a specific character, it's harder and harder to do that, sort of sympathetically. But also just like, you know, adds a sense of mystery. So I mean,
should hit
it. You've got enough health. But the other thing is, like, I mean, a lot of people have asked, like, oh, what gender is the rogue? Like, you know, but like, I hadn't even decided. Like, there was nothing gender specific about the rogue. The first time we went to PAX, which was a little over a year ago, and
Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah, some of those inside the torches, it's really hard to tell what if it's an explosive from regular box. But yeah, a bunch of people were saying like, oh, it looks like a girl, but can't tell. And so I guess like in that process, kind of decided like, well, and I had actually thought to myself that the rogue seemed somewhat female. And so we've basically kind of run with that, and I guess the rogue is officially female at this point, although we just say he and she interchangeably for especially the rogue, but actually like most of the character classes. It would be really cool if we could do like both genders for all character classes, but I think that's pretty much out of the question time-wise. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess the only thing that does matter is whenever we generate the random name selection, which you can see in the upper left corner there, like this rogue is named Pikara the Shady. We'll just have to make sure that those are either gender matches or gender neutral.
Oh, that was stupid. Oops. Treasure chest. No health. Didn't even do it.
So how finished are we with the game as to how far along we think it is at the moment?
A long ways away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the game, graphics-wise and kind of physics and special effects-wise, I would say it's actually pretty close. Like if you just looked at this live stream, there's still some issues with the walls and like
The
interstitial black.
well, yeah. God, what is what I'm looking for? Transitions and the room transitions.
Yeah, so basically, there's some kind of odd bugs here and there, and we also want to like black out rooms until you're going into them, and then they'll sort of fade into view. So there's some stuff to do there, but really like the big stuff we have to do are just like sheer content. Like we've got one zone mostly kind of completed out of the 9 we have planned. And I've done artwork for some of the other zones and some other enemies, but it's, really we need to kind of just burn through creating all of that stuff. And then there are also some major features like the perk tree and more complex kind of puzzle systems that aren't in the game yet. So yeah, some big outstanding features, even though kind of what we have to show at the moment is still like fairly polished for what it is. Oh, by the way, we were, this guy says we were on the front page of Twitch.
Usually your view count explodes after that. Teleglitch? I love Teleglitch.
And I have only watched him play it and thought it looks cool.
Honestly, I really don't like the graphics, and I'd probably play it a lot more if and it's not that like the style I don't really care for. It's that it's really hard to distinguish between stuff sometimes. I would play it a lot more if that was different, but in general, I really like Teleglitch. It makes me feel like a terrible gamer because it's pretty hard. But
so on here, Beastmaster would be nice as female. They're usually topless dudes with ferrets, which just sounds all kinds of dirty. But you are in luck. The Beastkeeper is actually female,
but not topless.
Yeah, not topless, and no ferrets. At least not yet.
All right, I'm gonna pull this off this time. You ready?
Kobe's gonna kill himself.
God!
He's just so you know, there's a slight bug-ish thing with the back step where you jump off the ground slightly, and so if you get launched and time it just right, like he could actually backwards jump over a gap.
Among other things.
Yeah. So
back when we had inventory still working, which was a long time ago now, you could bomb jump over gaps, and so any ability to do anything related to jumping over gaps, if you're taking advantage of the systems, I'm a big fan. And talk about taking stupid damage.
will there be an outside village in the game where you get to smash pots for rupees? We are planning on having some outside areas. We're still kind of trying to figure out how to technically make it look more outside-y while still using the same system of kind of walls and things. Because basically because of the way we have the wall perspective set up and just the way like art gets kind of pulled in concept wise, it'll be a little tricky, but it is something we've wanted to do since the beginning. As far as villages, there will kind of be a village, but probably not in the sense that you're asking about. There is no like, you know, oh, you got to the quaint little town where you can restock on your items and things. Yeah, I mean, really, it's our plan has been to make like a dungeon dive because you're going down the sort of side/inside of this mountain, and eventually underneath it. Spoiler, but. And yes, there will be shopkeepers. We don't have anything to buy right now, but yeah, we definitely have plans to use your gold in shops, and maybe some other ways too.
There's a dead end. I got lost.
Oh yeah, so this is the cool kind of debug zoom out feature. We're probably going to use this combined with some overlays to create a map. So basically if you press the map button, it zooms you out of the level and then kind of overlays rooms with some icons or something on top of that. So that'll be fun. Someday. By the way, I didn't realize until yesterday that these don't actually autosave anymore on Twitch. You have to go into your settings and check a little box that says, you know, archive them, and then you have to manually like upload to YouTube if you want it to be permanent.
Yeah, someone on the forums was asking about that, and I said I didn't know I didn't know that it changed because I thought that they were automatic for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess the last 2 or 3 live streams were saved. You actually may want to scoot this way. I just realized that you're getting like completely chopped in half.
That's okay. I guess my good half.
I like how in our video feed there's so much bloom from the windows it looks like we're in the game. It's just like, you know, 5 light sources on either side of us. What program did we use? He's learning programming, or he or she, I don't actually know, but I want to know what are the main coding types.
The game and engine are both written in-house. They're both in C++. So we didn't use anything off the shelf. It's all custom, for better or worse.
But I think you've said a few times if we had to do it over again, and if it were as far along as it is now, you probably would have just used Unity.
Probably.
But yeah, basically at the time we were planning this, kind of a year and a half, 2 years ago, Unity didn't support as many platforms as they did, or as they do now, and since we wanted to make a 2D game, basically Unity, I mean, it can definitely do 2D games, but you have to do some trickery because it's, you know, so kind of heavily tied to 3D systems. And I mean, also, like, I think it was kind of a feather in your cap to work on your own engine. And
well, we already had the tech from previous contract jobs, so it was sort of use what we have. Or
yeah, we originally started on Flash Tech.
Ouch.
That was definitely back in the day. Yeah, so Dirty Secret, our original kind of company business plan was to make Facebook games.
This is 5 years ago, or 4 years ago now, so for perspective, like mobile wasn't even a thing. As an indie, it was, you basically had to be on XBLA to make money. It was hard.
Yeah, there weren't really indies on Steam to speak of at that time.
Not a lot anyways.
Yeah, so things have drastically changed, even just in our short run as a company. Vacant Psalm, don't make me sad by telling us that Unity is going to have better 2D support.
Yeah, they're actually getting ready to have like native 2D editors and stuff, which is interesting because 2D Toolkit apparently is what everybody uses right now. So I'm curious if they either like, yeah, I'm curious if they bought that out or if they just did their own or what. But the other thing against Unity for me, anyways, is it's totally not the way I'm used to developing games. Coming out of the console world, it's, you know, I'm used to pretty low level native code. So I've used Unity actually for a couple contract jobs, and it was okay, but you know, definitely not my like default flavor. I keep forgetting that the dirt takes hits on the ghost.
So how would you and or anyone watching feel about actually adding damage numbers when you whack something? So -1, -5, etc. I've been thinking more and more about it, especially so that whenever you use different elemental types against different enemies, you can much more readily see which ones are effective.
Pass. Nope.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna get my wand.
Oh, you're trying to get the triplet?
Yeah.
Kobe's restarting the game over and over, trying to get the sorcerer to randomly have the triplet.
Is that it? Nope.
While he's doing that,
there we go.
Allow people to turn damage numbers on and off if we added it.
Make it an option.
What do you think? I don't think I've talked to you about it.
I don't like them personally, but clutter.
Yeah, I was wanting to make this game without them, but basically we need some way to be able to show like, oh, that was an effective hit versus an ineffective in a fairly clear way. So someone said, I forget who it was in the thread here, but said basically just like scaling effects. So if we could do like, you know, small slash for the sword, if you do a little bit of slashing damage and just incrementally make that bigger the more damage you're doing. So something we could probably do, right?
Yeah, and I prefer solutions like that anyways. Oh, this is bad. Oh, get off me.
Or yeah, like it says here, like pieces of parts or shields, or I mean basically particle effects. So yeah, we could, since the sword slash would actually be a kind of effect, we could probably just increment the number of particles spawned up a little bit. Different sounds.
That was a very cruel run. Had a bunch of little chains all throughout it.
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of bats,
pretty
a lot
hard
of
to get
spiders.
through. It's kind of visually confusing because there are just so many chains.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
the one's just passing over.
The fireballs passing over the little things.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned that on the forum.
Yeah.
So
Probably
your
when
melee gets it.
Yeah, it probably happened whenever I made them shorter. Because originally they had the same logical height as regular crates, so they were casting huge shadows, even though they're
okay.
a little
That
bitty.
would make sense. We just need to make sure that their height or the projectile height we should talk about that because I have that spreadsheet that has the list of how high everything should be, and I probably wasn't thinking about shadows at the time, but that stuff is supposed to be smaller, and maybe we just didn't set it that way.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever been changed. They were just actually most things in there didn't have custom height values. Most things were using the exact same value for everything.
Chris Guest is saying he installed the patch and likes the speed changes, but he got another crash like he got in 0.3.7.
Yeah, tell him that. Not a surprise. Don't know what it is. Look into it someday.
Well, you can tell him because he's probably listening.
Oh right, yeah, you probably heard that.
We can't have secret conversations on a live stream.
Not sure what it is. I mean, it's probably, since it's on Crash, it has to be with resource allocation. But I never seem to get it, so I don't. It's gonna be not very much fun to figure out. Did you make the damage on these ones less? On these fireballs less?
I did turn it down a bit, yes.
Yeah, because this doesn't seem nearly as powerful as it was before.
OP as fuck.
I liked it that way personally.
Well, I mean, that kind of one will probably be in the game, and you know, you're super OP, like
Alright.
quadruplic of death that you know shoots 5 fireballs that all split into 5 more fireballs.
I
after.
thought I fixed the projectile physics balance weirdness, but I don't think they have.
What's that?
Sometimes when you hit things with projectiles, they bounce in funny directions. Like, from here, I can't even see that spear, so that's a not fair death.
Yeah, we need to make those have a little twinkly, shiny on them.
Oh, it freezes his whole computer up? Yeah, that is very strange. I think your computer's broken. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very weird. Does anybody have any other questions about differences between previous builds and this build, or want to know what's going to change between this build and the next build? Which we can try to answer, although we don't 100% know. So.
Well, what's I mean, a lot of it, I guess, has to do with you. You gonna look at your schedule?
No, I'm going to make sure there's no fires to put out.
There will be a zone with vegetation. I don't know that I would call it a jungle necessarily, but yeah, more jungle-y. Let's see. Then, I mean, I didn't want to do sort of like a straight up like here's the fire level, here's the ice level, but you know, since we do have this elemental system that we want to connect with kind of the items and puzzles and so on, there are different zones that kind of that will more prominently feature one element or another. So like this jungle-ish zone will have a lot of surge elemental stuff, which surge is kind of the element of like plants and ocean waves and the precipitation cycle. So it's basically kind of the cycle of life and water. Then there will be a zone with lots of kind of, well, it'll basically be the forges under the mountain. So some fire jets and lava type stuff, that sort of thing.
Question for the Mac. Whenever you have a folder and you have different files in it, and you have the previous folder files, and you copy the new one onto the old one, on my Mac it says replace and merge. Merge is what I want to do. Replace the files that changed the files with the files that aren't there that changed. This guy is getting stock and replace all those.
Keep newer, I guess. I don't know. Apparently someone has a strange Mac question that I'm not sure how to answer. So thanks for the compliments on the music. That is all courtesy of Nathan Lee, who does our audio stuff. He's based in California. If you want to see some more of his work, I think it's 3leafproductions.com. I forget if 3 is spelled out or is a numeral. But we also linked to him on Facebook a couple times, so if you want to go to our Facebook page, you can probably check out some of the music. I think he also snuck out some of the like remaining Delver music that is in progress. It's a little early peek. So we're probably going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so, since we've been going for almost an hour. So let us know if you have any more questions or anything. Actually, I'll restart here and use the Gladiator because we barely used him at all. Personally, has a decent hammer. And by the way, for anyone who is talking about it on the forums, about the kind of speed changes to the characters, I think I kind of leveled them off a little bit. I was explaining how I kind of changed things so they all operate off of a baseline now. So the Gladiator, it definitely feels much more like the Gladiator did before. He is faster, but everybody's faster. So hopefully that's all kind of equalized. But I did want to make things a little bit snappier than it was. So, right now between the faster movement speed, shield dash, and just using the shield to defend and so on, the game has definitely gotten a lot easier. So we're probably going to have to make enemies a little bit more challenging. Obviously there are a lot of enemies to just add to the game, but we'll probably have more that seek you, more projectiles, so you actually have to use your shield more frequently to block them. And yeah, lots of stuff. Thanks for all the compliments, guys. Looks like we're kind of ending with compliments instead of questions, which I guess is a good sign.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Adding a few sound effects of your own there.
Yeah, since they're getting piped over the audio. Nice of that.
It's actually pretty hard for whatever reason to stay aiming in the diagonal, at least for me. I don't know. It's probably just in my imagination, but
Are you questioning the integrity of the code?
I don't know.
Such a fatal
Questioning the integrity of the Xbox controller, maybe.
That is an old Xbox controller. But no, it's... If there is an issue, it's probably software, not hardware.
We got some serious flack for not putting out a Linux version yet. Multiple people. Sad face. Apparently it worked under Wine though for one guy, so that's good at least in the meantime.
Is that the emulator?
Yeah, the Windows emulator.
I don't know anything about Linux. You want to keep playing?
Not as the Gladiator, but
What would it take to make you like the Gladiator?
I don't know.
Giant ground pound AoE, demolishing the level with your hammer strikes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, actually, I wouldn't mind the gladiator at all if shield dash did damage, you know, so you can quickly move around and hurt things. But right now, see, you shield dash and you die.
I was actually thinking about giving him a spiked shield
Yeah.
to kind of signify, like, when you shield dash, you, like, fuck shit up. Just, like, plow through things.
See, I'm more of a rogue kind of guy.
Sigastar, what was your question?
Don't do it, man. Don't do it, man. Sorry, this is the end.
So what's your favorite class?
Me? Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely rogue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be rogue for me as well. Like, I just tend to play, like, your kind of fast melee class.
Easier to hit stuff right now versus in a class. Faster, and I generally like fast.
It almost makes me wonder if we need to make the rogue worse so that people like the other characters more. But we'll probably just balance that out by giving them cool weapons.
The thing is, you could really handicap a lot of the rogue's advantages, at least as they are right now, by actually enforcing short swords. Because right now she uses, you know,
Fairly long.
right.
Yeah,
If you're required to get a little bit closer,
well, see,
it'd
I
make
guess
it
the
a
thing
little more
with that,
challenging.
like, I would be okay with making the swords range a little shorter, but when we had a shorter sword range at the first PAX, and people definitely didn't like it. So right now it's a little over a tile in range. But yeah, I mean, we were planning on supporting the different kind of sword ranges anyway. But let's see, there was a question, will this support the new console controllers when they come out? And I don't actually know about that one.
It can, because it's our engine, so we can do whatever we want. But really, it's up to the console manufacturers to make it easy or hard for us. I'm pretty sure.
Now with Kinect.
I'm pretty sure PS4 already said that their controller is going to be out of the box PC ready this go around. Whereas with the PlayStation 3 controllers, you actually have to install some additional software or emulate most of the time. Stupid spider. But I suspect the Xbone controller will probably be just as easy to use on the PC as the 360 and basically require no effort from us. See if I can pull out of that just a second early and swing my sword. That would be lethal. Oh, bad idea. His machine doesn't do that. Bad idea. There we go.
So there was a question, when we implement skills, can we make the talent tree so you go from, so for the mage you could do frost, fire, arcane, and we may have something like that. We've talked about possibly simplifying the skill tree and the skill tree menu so that it is just kind of a linear path. I would really like to have a branching path, so you either have kind of 3 branches, or at a certain like node on the tree you can choose, like, you know, fire, ice, earth, or whatever, and then progress from there. And if you want to change it, you have to basically like turn off the fire branch and switch to the ice branch. So it's a possibility. We've kind of talked about ideas, but a lot of it is going to come down to, like, you know, how many actual kind of perks and skills can we program, and how complex, you know, can that menu actually be? Because I mean, right now we don't actually have like full or really any menu support. We definitely need it, but the menus are going to have to be like custom coded to some degree, because we don't actually have just like a straightforward menu editor. Tell something about vector fields we had in the Element Excel sheet. Oh yeah, I think I didn't talk about those yesterday because that part isn't done. Basically, I mean, we have these steam vector fields, the sort of gusts of steam that come out of pipes in this build, or, you know, this zone, And so I was trying to think like, okay, if we had a vector field for any other element, what would that be? I mean, because right now it just like pushes you, sends you across the level with a certain amount of force. And so, like for fire, it could obviously just be like a fire jet that catches things on fire. Doesn't actually blow you back, or maybe just a little bit because you take damage. But yeah, I was trying to kind of, and I would have to look at my listing because I don't remember what all the details were, and I didn't completely finish that. But it was one of those things that I had it in a sheet, was kind of running it by Kobe to see if it's something we could implement time-wise. And but yeah, I thought it would be cool if there were some elemental vector fields that actually suck you in, kind of like magnetism, and then damage you if you touch the epicenter. Then I was wanting to do one, and I wasn't sure if I would put it under strike or sunder, but basically like if you get hit by this kind of effect field, like it might actually kind of suck you in, and then when you touch the center you get blasted away from it, but then anything you come into contact with takes explosive damage. So it's this cascading, like, basically if you used a wand that had this effect on an enemy, you could try to get them to ricochet into other enemies to just create this like chain reaction of explosions. So that's the idea. Whether we actually get around to doing that, I am not sure. We weren't at Indiecade last week. We went a few years ago.
I think we went the first or second year it was ever held.
Yeah, it might have been the first. That was 2010, right? Because it was right after we started the company.
No, it was the first year we started the company. It would have been 2009.
No, we started it in 2010.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
that
April
was in Mexico,
2010.
2009.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to go back again. It was actually really cool, the one year that we went. When we can implement it, rain fire down upon the enemies and harvest their souls. Yes. Elementalist charge attack would be cool. Or I was just thinking like the Elementalist doing shield dashes with different elemental properties. So whatever you've modified in your perk tree, like you can basically say my shield dash now does fire damage or ice damage or whatever. So yeah, the beta run, basically like anyone who pre-orders on our site will get access by the end of this month. The sort of true beta state won't really occur until the end of the year, and then at that time, like when the game is in kind of a beta reviewable state by the press and so on, like we'll do a kind of a bigger pre-order campaign, like do some trailer videos and try to really push it, send press builds out. And that'll be immediate access, obviously, because by the end of this month, anyone who wants access will be able to get it by pre-ordering. But yeah, so we'll have a big pre-order campaign when it goes into kind of real deal beta, and then the game will release sometime spring of next year. The Elementalist is going to be kind of a short-range magic using class, like basically. Right now you can, with the Sorcerer, you can whack stuff if you want. Like it does some melee damage, it's just a low amount. So the Elementalist will swing a staff across, kind of like a sword, so you'll actually do more melee damage when you hit things. But then we are also talking about having this sort of jet of fire either come up out of the ground or sort of shoot ahead of you in like a cone shape. So that's pretty much how the staff weapons would work. But yeah, I mean the Elementalist will be much more of a I hate to use the term, but slightly more tankish than the Sorcerer, who's kind of like run around, scurry around, try to stay out of danger, shoot a few projectiles. The idea with the Elementalist is like you can kind of get up in enemies' faces a little bit more and smack them around, or smack them around with fire, I guess. Mid-range, I guess. Like the Elementalist with the staff plus whatever fire or other element effect will be longer range than the Rogue.
See, it'd be cool if I could just dash into these guys and do damage right there. Bam, die. Instead they kill me. See, that was another case where the spider didn't turn to face before he jumped. I don't know. Must have been one of the physics changes recently.
Doomspeaker was saying he was able to like shield dash enemies and knock them into a pit without taking damage. Just have to time it right, I guess.
Yeah. The big problem with shield dash right now is when you come out of it, you almost always take damage because it doesn't knock enemies back enough, or it doesn't stun them, or doesn't do any damage. And so you can't even shield dash into something and then come out of it swinging because you're almost always going to take damage. But yeah, you can totally dash things into pits and whatnot. I was trying to find another room with pipes and pits because I totally want to pipe, shield, dodge, jump over the pit, but
well, we may have to save that for the next live stream.
Maybe I'm gonna just have to code in a special room just to do it.
So basically, you're talking about making the back dash, basically giving that even more lifts, just so you can jump over things.
Basically. So let's see, check this out. Oh god. I'm gonna push this ghost into the path of the other ghost, so the other ghost, stupid rat. So it kills him. Ow.
So yes, the rooms are randomized. They're basically, the way it works is we build a room shape, and then we use tiles to design the rooms, and so we'll make all these random layers, and then
objects on the layer are randomized as well.
Yeah, so basically, like the layout within the room will randomize, and we randomly string all these different rooms together. So there are right now 2 layers of randomization, I guess, or maybe 3 if you want to count enemies, which have random chances of spawning. So, yeah, the road. Actually, everybody's faster now. Chris92. But if you get the patch, they're toned down a little bit. We sort of overcompensated for what we thought might have been a bug, but maybe it wasn't after all. I don't know what was.
It was
going
weird.
on.
I don't know. No shield. There's a shield. There's no shield. That'll work for now.
I like that. We put a randomizer in your randomizer so you can randomize while you're randomizing.
Not good.
Will, how do you feel about wrapping this up? Sorry to anyone who came late. I don't think we put PST. I'm pretty sure we put CST on the time.
Well, right now it would be MST anyway, so.
What's that?
We definitely put PST because right now it's mountain time 4:30, so.
Well, someone was thinking we put Pacific.
Oh.
So I was hoping we
they're an
didn't
hour early.
accidentally put Pacific. But I can I set this to be archived, so it'll be available if you want to go back and watch it on Twitch. I don't know how long they stay archived, so maybe we'll upload this to YouTube. Barella's not here, no, just Kobe and I. And yeah, Chris, I just figured out or found out about the save forever and archive, all that stuff. Like, basically the live stream I did yesterday, I realized didn't get saved at all because they had changed something, and you have to go back in your settings and check like auto archive, some as you play it. And so yeah, I'll probably go back in and save this one forever. But I guess the thing is, I don't know if you're limited on how many you can save permanently. Oh, so we're not limited. Okay. Interesting. So are you actually a Twitch admin?
Chris is, yeah.
Okay. I did not notice that at first.
So it was good to have an admin be a fan of the game. Death. I think that's a good death to die on. A wimpy death to slimes.
Good death to die on. That was probably the loudest noise ever because
yeah,
it was right by the microphone. I will have to investigate all of the saving forever a bit more. The Undelver sort of works, right? You sort of kind of showed it. We basically don't have AI for it.
But there's going to be some serious AI updates coming.
So, well, I think that's it for today, guys. We'll probably do another one in a couple weeks, or, you know, like I was saying before, I do an art live stream every Wednesday at 3 p.m. CST. Oh, yeah. So the question about the jailer, basically in the end, like when we, this guy down here, that's the jailer. He will eventually be the character select. Like you will control him and sort of, you know, walk up and press a button to unlock a cell. But right now he doesn't really do anything except sit there and breathe. You can actually kill him if you want to. He just has really, really high HP. I think it'll take like at least 20 hits or so, possibly more. But anyway, so have fun with that. Will he be playable? Well, probably not beyond the using him for character select. So, anyway, thanks for showing up, guys. We will talk to you again soon. Hit us up on the forums if you have any other questions. Just, yeah. How do I turn this off? I don't even know because it's not my computer.
The broadcast. Yeah, just go up here to broadcast.